Okay, if you're a serious trader, investor, human being living in our society, I'm getting ready to read you something that I think is one of the most important things you can listen to right now as it pertains to our society, our markets, just everything in general right now as things are going on. Because this article was written by a guy who left the United States to go live in Portugal, where he trades S&P futures. He trades futures, the futures markets. And he gives a perspective here, which I think is just amazing. It's one I've actually talked about, but I haven't gotten really loud about it yet here on X. It's one of the reasons why I am very focused on just Bitcoin, and I'll explain more later on another post. But you've got to listen to this. It's long, but just stay with it. I know it's not the thing that people do on this app, but just stay with me on this. Okay, this is from Jonathan Hudson. I want to try to put to words something I've been seeing very clearly since leaving the US, and most of it comes from day trading futures every single day. For people who don't really know about what futures are, here's the cleanest way I can explain it. Futures aren't stocks. You're not buying a company or believing in a long-term story. Futures are leverage trading contracts tied to big system level markets, the S&P, NASDAQ, bonds, oil, and currencies. They trade almost 24 hours a day across Asia, Europe, and the US. You're not trading Home Depot. You're trading Home Depot and another 2,000 companies all at the same time. They move fast, they punish hesitation, and most importantly, they react immediately. There's no buffer, no narrative delay, no PR gloss. When fear hits, when power flexes, when information drops or is hinted out, leaked, or weaponized, futures show you what people actually do with their money in real time. That's why futures are such a clean lens. They don't care what people say they believe, they care what people do. And more importantly, they react to what institutions of, quote, market makers do. And they're having a ball. There's a saying in trading that the news is not the reason for the wild spike. It's an excuse to do it because they knew it was coming and manipulated retail to get wiped, all while profiting in billions. And watching that lens from Europe has fundamentally changed how clearly I see the United States. Markets open in a rhythm. Asia opens first, calm, deliberate, price moves, but it listens. Levels matter. There's patience built into the tape. Then London opens. Volume increases, market more aggression, but still structure, still readable, still rational. Then the US opens, and the entire character of the market shifts. Candles don't glide, they snap. Levels that held all night get run through in minutes. Breakouts fail instantly. Reversals come out of nowhere. Headlines hit mid-candle. Tweets, tariffs, threats, walkbacks, sources say. Everything feels jumpy, brittle, hostile. For years, while living in the US, this felt normal to me. Stressful, sure, but normal. When you're inside it, you assume that that's just how markets are, just how life is now. Faster, louder, more reactive. But I did know something was wrong. I felt it in my body long before I could articulate it. That constant edge, that background tension, that sense that nothing ever really settles. That awareness is one of the reasons why we left. Portugal wasn't random. It wasn't about aesthetics or lifestyle branding. It was about stepping out of a system that never lets your nervous system stand down. What changed after leaving wasn't my intelligence or my trading skill. It was distance. From here, watching US futures every day, something becomes impossible to ignore. The chaos isn't accidental, it's structural. And yes, this is very much about Trump, not as a partisan rant, but as a system reality. Trump trained markets to react to words instead of structure, tweets instead of data, threats instead of process. Tariffs announced like weapons, walked back casually, hinted at again later. Instability normalized. And it's by intentional design. This is the part to ingest. What used to be hidden manipulation is now right out front and center because no one can do a damn thing about it. Why do you think Congress people come in with average money and then in a few years are millionaires and billionaires? Markets adapt to incentives. They adapt fast. And here's the crucial part that finally snapped into focus once I was out. Fear didn't pay for most people. Fear paid incredibly well for the people creating it. That's the distinction that matters. Fear destroyed trust. Fear destroyed structure. Fear destroyed price discovery. Fear destroyed long-term thinking. Fear destroyed people's nervous systems. But fearful markets are also much easier to profit from if you are the source of the fear. When you control the timing of headlines, when you float a threat, then pull it back, when you inject uncertainty right as liquidity is thin, when you can force reactions instead of letting price develop, you need a healthy market. You don't need a healthy market. You need a reactive one. A fearful market jumps. A fearful market overcorrects. A fearful market misprices risk. And that creates endless opportunity for the few who are positioned well before the fear hits. That's not an accident. That's a business model. Did you know that some invisible person made $500,000 on a poly market bet that Maduro would be captured last week? How the fuck would someone know that? And don't even get me started on how much money was made shorting the futures market just 5 minutes before Trump's tariff tweet. We are talking billions. And then again, it happened right before the just kidding tweet. It's an absolute insane market manipulation. It is absolute insane market manipulation with zero consequences. I was there in these moments, both of them. And I, like many other retail traders, got killed. From the outside, the mechanics are obvious. Stops aren't mistaken, they're targets. Levels aren't structure, they're bait. Breakouts aren't signal, they're traps. Volatility isn't a byproduct, it's induced. News drops when price is most vulnerable because that's when it does the most damage and creates the most opportunity for those who knew it was coming. This isn't theory. This is how a system behaves when manipulation is more profitable than stability. And this is where futures trading stops being about trading and starts explaining everyday life in the US. The stress people feel there isn't personal. It's not because you're weak or bad at coping. It's environmental. It's institutional. The entire system is engineered to keep people reactive, financially, politically, emotionally. Constant alerts, constant outrage, constant urgency. Everything framed as a threat. Everything framed as pay attention right now or you will lose. Your nervous system never gets to stand down. When you live inside that long enough, you stop questioning it. You think that the tight chest, the irritability, the exhaustion, the sense of always being behind is just adulthood, just modern life. I thought that too. But here's the part that only really lands once you're out. When you're inside the US, you think you still have perspective. You think you see through it like I did. I was already skeptical, already critical, already aware something was off. But awareness inside the system is not the same as clarity outside of it. Inside, your body is reacting before your mind has a chance. Your baseline stress is elevated, so everything stacks on top of it. You're constantly adjusting, constantly bracing, constantly explaining away why you feel like shit. You don't notice how much energy you've spent just staying upright. From the outside, the difference is physical, immediate. The noise drops, the urgency dissolves, your thoughts slow down. And that's when it really hits you. Most of what you thought was your stress was never yours. It was injected. It was reinforced. It was normalized. And the system depends on that. A calm population asks better questions. A regulated nervous system doesn't overreact. A rested mind doesn't fall for manufactured urgency. That's why fear is so useful and why it's so deliberately maintained. Here's the irony that still gets me. Stepping out of the US has made me a better trader of US markets because I'm no longer trading from fear. I'm trading the fear itself because I can finally see who benefits from it. Once you understand that volatility is induced, the chaos is intentional. Futures stop feeling insane. They start feeling predictable in exactly the way a manipulated system behaves. Futures don't lie. They exaggerate, distort, and get abused, but they always reflect what's underneath. And what they're reflecting right now is a US system that doesn't benefit from calm, clarity, or stability because too many powerful interests benefit from the opposite. I'm not writing this to judge anyone still living there. I lived it. I get it. I know how invisible it is when it's your water and your air. I'm writing it because distance made something impossible to ignore. You cannot fully see a system while you're inside it. You just can't. You can analyze it, you can complain about it, you can try to manage yourself within it, but real clarity only comes with distance. That's why I'll say this plainly without drama. If you can get out, even temporarily, even imperfectly, not to run away, but to finally see clarity. Because once you've lived outside of a system built on induced fear and engineered instability, there's no going back to pretending that the chaos was just life. Don't become angry about it, just become certain. And once you're certain, you can't unsee it. Sort of like the Matrix bug that got extracted when I left the US. You just can't see it from the inside. But to all of those who step out for a while, I know that you resonate with exactly what all these words say. I'll have a lot more to say about this in the future and what I'm doing about that. And I've already been, speaking a lot about that. But if you want to continue to follow my work on this, you'll need to go to the Byrd Family Lab at the Byrd, BYRD Family Lab. I'm going to start over the next several weeks posting over there and adding a lot more context around this and all the different things I'm doing. But I thought this was really important to get out tonight. And I hope everybody listened to the end. I know it's a long video for TikTok, but yeah, I hope this was useful for you.